to sort of fill that void of sport. And then, I really didn't think I was going to be telling this story. I completely, changed my life around and decided I'm really going to do this film thing, and returned to Zambia in 2011. And I was looking for a story. As a football fan, I was following the draw for AFCON 2012 and saw that the only way we play in Gabon would be in the final. And I was like, wow, this is like setting up to be like, a fairy tale story. And then when we did make the final in 2012, I was like, oh my goodness, like this is a story that I have to tell. I'm very big on, people telling their own stories. And I knew this would be pretty big. And if I didn't jump on it, somebody else would. And I knew how important football is, bola na lesa. So, I really wanted it to be a Zambian story told by Zambians from a Zambian point of view. And then, when we won, I was like, oh my God, we won! This is definitely my story. This will definitely validate me blowing up my whole entire life and returning to Zambia and, deciding to be an independent filmmaker. And I thought it would just be a one-time thing that I would tell this story in documentary format, because, there's that saying when an African elder dies and it's like a library burning down. I wanted to make sure that we heard from the people who experienced it, and knew also, because of the 1993 tie-in, that some of those people were getting older, and that we may lose them before we really hear about the connection between 1993 and AFCON 2012, and then just about the history of football in general from independence. And so then, because of my dad's, football tie, he was able to get me into a meeting with Kalusha Walia. And he was like, oh, little girl, I've seen you grow up. If you want to try. But, some people have even been saying they do the 1993 crash and it's been almost 20 years. We haven't seen a film, but you do you. And I was like, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it in two. Except I had never made a film before. I don't know why I was talking like anyways. He then told me that he had been approached by a Spanish producer, and I happen to speak Spanish, and so I contacted him and said, hey, I don't have the technical skills to be able to pull this off, but I know that I have the creative and storytelling skills. Maybe we should partner, because it is also a global story, because football is a beautiful game. It's the number one sport in the world. People know a lot of these players from all the different leagues and things, and so we partnered to make Eightteam, and we did deliver in 2 years. We started in 2012 and we delivered in 2014, and my life completely changed. So it kind of mirrored how football is so important to the development of Zambia. It happened to me. So I am now in sport in a completely different way. But this story is the gift that keeps on giving, and I didn't realize the gravity of what I was doing. I knew it needed to be done, but I didn't realize how much it would touch people, not only in Zambia, but around the world. Traveling with it, the audiences in Germany reacted exactly the same way as like Zambians. It was very surreal. I was like, wait a minute, they're laughing in the same places, they're crying in the same places. I was like, what? It doesn't make any sense. And then also because, a lot of the time when people think sports, they think, oh, it's about men being fans and it's their thing. And then the women go off and do other stuff. But, football mirrors life, and our story is such a human story. It's a story of the underdog. It's a story about tragedy. It's a story about overcoming. These are very human things that people can relate to. And so whether we did it in a way where you didn't have to know anything about football, but we put just enough for you to be able to follow the storyline, so that you could see the parallels between what was going on in the football versus what was going on in the country. And so, it appeals to a very broad audience. It doesn't matter your gender. It doesn't matter whether you're a sports fan. It doesn't matter whether you actually like football in particular. If you're a person and you live life, pretty much you will find an entry point into the film.